Daily Words of God.
Man doing his duty is, in actuality, the accomplishment of all that is inherent within man. That is, that which is possible for man. It is then that his duty is fulfilled. The defects of man during man's service are gradually reduced through progressive experience and the process of his experience of judgment. They do not hinder or affect man's duty. Those who cease to serve or yield and fall back in fear of the defects that may exist in service are the most cowardly of all men. If man cannot express what he ought to express during service, or achieve what is inherently possible for him, and instead fools about and goes through the motions, he has lost the function that a created being should have. This kind of man is considered a mediocre non-entity and a useless waste of space. How can one such as this be dignified with the title of a created being? Are they not entities of corruption that shine on the outside, but are rotten within? If a man calls himself God, yet is unable to express the being of divinity, do the work of God himself, or represent God, he is undoubtedly not God, for he has not the essence of God, and that which God can inherently achieve does not exist within him. If man loses what is inherently attainable, he can no longer be considered man, and he is not worthy to stand as a created being or come before God and serve him. Moreover, he is not worthy to receive the grace of God or be watched over, protected, and made perfect by God. Many who have lost the trust of God go on to lose the grace of God. They not only do not despise their misdeeds, but brazenly propagate the idea that the way of God is incorrect. And those rebellious even deny the existence of God. How can such kind of man with such rebelliousness have the privilege of enjoying the grace of God? Men who have failed to fulfill their duty have been very rebellious against God and owe much to him, yet they turn and lambaste that God is wrong. How could such kind of man be worthy of being made perfect? Is this not the forerunner of being eliminated and punished? A man who does not do his duty before God is already guilty of the most heinous of crimes, for which even death is an insufficient punishment. Yet man has the gall to argue with God and match themselves against him. What is the worth of making perfect such kind of man? If man fails to fulfill his duty, he ought to feel guilt and indebtedness. He ought to despise his weakness and uselessness, his rebelliousness and corruptness, and moreover, ought to sacrifice his life and blood for God. Only then is he a created being who truly loves God, and only such kind of man is worthy of enjoying the blessings and promise of God, and of being made perfect by him. And what of the majority of you? How do you treat the God who lives among you? How have you done your duty before him? Have you done all you were called upon to do, even at the expense of your own life? What have you sacrificed? Have you not received much from me? Can you make the distinction? How loyal are you to me? How have you served me? And what of all that I have bestowed upon you and have done for you? Have you taken measure of it all? Have you all judged and compared this with what little conscience you have within you? Who could you do right by with your words and actions? Could it be that such minuscule sacrifice of yours is worthy of all I have bestowed upon you? I have no other choice and have been wholeheartedly devoted to you. Yet you harbor wicked misgivings about me and are half-hearted. That is the extent of your duty, your only function. Is this not so? Don't you know that you have not at all fulfilled the duty of a created being? How can you be considered a created being? Do you not clearly know what it is that you are expressing and living out? You have failed to fulfill your duty, but you seek to gain the mercy and bountiful grace of God. Such grace has not been prepared for ones as worthless and base as you, but for those who ask for nothing and gladly sacrifice. Such men as you, such mediocre non-entities, are not at all worthy to enjoy the grace of heaven. Only hardship and interminable punishment shall accompany your days. If you cannot be faithful to me, your fate shall be one of suffering. If you cannot be accountable to my words and my work, your lot will be one of punishment. Any grace, blessings, and wonderful life in the kingdom shall have nothing to do with you. This is the end you deserve to meet, and a consequence of your own doing.